In this lecture, we are going to check if the user exists in Firebase already. Otherwise, we are going to create one in case this is the first time user is logging in after registration. First of all, let's tidy up our files a little bit on the right side. I'm going to select F user file and then right click, create new group from selection, and this will put it in a folder. Let's call this model. Then we have this constants file. Let's right click and create a new group from selection and call this helpers. And finally, welcome and register view controller. I'm going to again right click, new group from selection. Let's call this welcome. All right. What we need to do now is, in order to access our Firebase database here, we have like a general root folder for our Firebase. This is like the home folder. Imagine the database here is like folder hierarchy, and we need to get the access to the root folder, and then we are going to create different collections, how Firebase calls it, and then in each collection you can put different files. So imagine this is like folders. So let's create a class, or actually a function, that is going to give us a root directory of our Firebase, and then we can ask the Firebase to give us specific path to the folder or the collection that we need to access. So in our case now we are going to create a user folder, user collection, and put all our user objects inside of it. So under helpers for now, let's select Command N to create a new Swift file and click next. I'm going to call this F collection reference. So it's like Firebase collection reference. And in order to access our Firebase, I'm going to import Firebase FireStore. All right, so the FireStore is this part here, the database. So once we import it, we can create a function, and this function is going to called Firebase Reference, and this is going to return a collection reference, which is a Firebase provided class, and this is the reference to a specific collection that we are going to access here. So let's say you can manually create a collection, or we can create it from the code. So what we want this function to do is it's going to return a collection reference, so reference to a specific folder, but we need to tell it which folder we want to access. So I'm going to create an enum here and put all the possible collections that we are going to use throughout our application. So let's call this F collection reference, and it's going to be type of string, and we're going to have different cases. So call case user. For now, I'm going to just put the user. So we are going to have like a user collection. And here I'm going to pass a parameter called it collection reference. And this is a type of F collection reference. So basically we are providing a string here. I'm just creating an enum, so it's easier for us to pass, like we say F collection reference dot user, and then we don't have to type like user every time we want to pass to it. And this underscore in front of the name of the variable we are passing here means that if I call this function, for example, if I go here and call that function, let's say, let's Command P to build it. Actually, it has an error now. We need to return something. So let's say return, and then we access our FireStore This is provided by Firebase. Then we initialize our FireStore. So this part is what it does, actually returns like the root directory to the Firebase, which is the area here. And then we want to add to it a collection name. So in order to do that, you just say dot collection, and then we need to provide the path to that specific collection. And here where it comes our collection reference, so you just can copy and paste and say row value. So we have a root directory, and then we just pass a user to it. This is what the row value is. And we're going to return this. Now our error goes away. And if I go, let's say, to our F user, just Command P one more time and say Firebase Reference. And you see now it requires the path to it. I can say dot, and then I have currently only the user option. So you can see right now, I can see only the variable that I am passing to, and I don't have to use this name here. But if I had to remove this, and if I go here and Command P, now this will give me an error. It says missing argument label. If I click on it and say fix, so this part of the function label appears here all the time. So the underscore basically says you don't have to type this reference label, you just pass it. But this actually makes our functions, our code quite short, because once we are starting call Firebase reference and then we access the directory, this line of code is going to be quite long, so we want to make it as short as possible. So I'm going to get rid of this, just this is for demonstration purpose only. And in our next lecture, we will write a function that is going to access the specific folder that we are going to use with our Firebase reference. And then it's going to check if the user is there or no.